Hey guys, so today we are building a Japanese onsen bathhouse. I had an exact idea of what I wanted, but I couldn't find anything like that on the gallery, so I figured it would be faster to build it myself rather than keep scrolling and placing lots, and boy was I wrong. This took quite a while, but my main idea for this was that the first settlers of Mount Komorebi found this natural hot spring in a rock terrain formation, and they built the onsen bathhouse around it instead of plopping down a building and ruining the natural surroundings. So you will see there's kind of water flowing all throughout the build. So I first placed a block room to kind of map out the area. I was actually trying to connect the building and the terrain with just a floor, but that didn't work, so I ended up just putting stairs on it, and that actually kind of ended up looking a lot better. But the problem was that it just leaves a gap. The terrain doesn't perfectly connect with the building. I already put down the onsen because this is the first build I was doing with the new pack when it came out, so I hadn't tested the new items. I didn't know how large they were, and after the hot spring I built a platform that is going to be a meditation room, and I'm doing the typical tiered roof kind of style building that is very common in Japan. I tried decorating the roofs as much as I could, but they only gave us one decor piece for the roofs, and we can't even curve out the edges of the roof, which is very distinctive for Japanese buildings. And I'm also lighting up the outside area, changing the sizes of the lanterns just so it's not all just the same size, and I'm putting down a lot of square columns all over the build. Also bamboo trees. Another idea for this build was to make it as traditional as I could, but also make it almost like a spa, but not exactly, still keeping it very traditional but also more modern on the inside. So there are a lot of elements that are very zen and relaxing, such as the sand gardens and the fountains. I'm adding some more roof details, just little extra roofs to give some more dimension to the whole building, and some more lanterns, and also rain chains, which I'm putting them kind of under the roof where the rain wouldn't reach, but it's just like I said, they didn't give us enough decor for roofs. And I also moved the meditation platform inwards a bit by one tile because I wanted to extend the roof. And I also put down an Emma display. From what I read, they're more common in shrines or temples, but because this is a meditation room, I thought the Sims would be kind of doing a little meditation and trying to concentrate their mind on their goal, which would be maybe summiting Mount Komorebi, and after their meditation make a wish for it to come true. So I also used the incense sticks from Spa Day, and I put down heaters. Sims would be freezing because they meditate in their fitness outfit. And here I'm moving on to trying to fill the gap with some rocks. Initially I wanted to fill it with some plants, but I didn't want it to look like weeds poking through the stairs, because I don't think Japanese buildings, especially these kind of traditional buildings, are overgrown with weeds. That wouldn't be very typical. So I decided to, because this is kind of like meant to be a little bit rocky, I thought it would be perfect to just fill it with rocks. And from there the idea sprouted to have a natural rock wall inside the building, because like I said, the idea was that the building was built around the hot spring. Because some of the rocks were poking through the wall, that's why I decided, well, let me just make a rock wall. And I actually was going to make an aquarium, but then I remembered that fish don't transfer. If you like downsize the aquariums, it looks like the fish are swimming in the air. I scrapped that idea and I actually just ended up making a fountain, and that worked out a lot better because it looks like the water is kind of seeping through the rocks and trickling down. Because the slot was on a foundation, I couldn't use an actual fountain, so I just ended up using one of those glowing floors from Spa Day, and it kind of looks like water, so that's as close as I could get it to actually looking like water without using fountain or pools. And then I'm just working a bit more on the landscaping. I'm trying to use only plants that look eastern and more rocks. And then I found these sand looking piles from Eco Lifestyle, so I just put them just to fill in some empty gaps, and then I'm moving back to rocks. The problem with this build build was that the debug items, even just plants, a lot, if there's the slightest manipulation to the terrain, they will just float high up in the air unless you use the tool mod, which I don't have. So I worked with what I could. I mean, I think I spent a good half day just trying to place rocks. And initially I was going to put little hot pot tables around the fountain because I wanted it to be the statement piece of this build, but it just wasn't looking good. I even made this whole kind of bamboo forest entrance, but it was not looking good. This is why I never build from the outside in like I did with this build. I always build from the inside out and then try to make the outside look good. So I was kind of stumped with this for such a long time, but then I ended up just moving the stairs further back next to the fountain and just building the indoor onsen. Usually they use regular heated water for it, but I thought that would be using the water from the fountain, so you will see it looks like the water is coming from the fountain into the onsen. So it almost looks like it connects from the top outdoor onsen to the rocky wall fountain and then to the indoor onsen. So like I said, it's just like the water is flowing all throughout the building. And then on both sides below the stairs I am putting a sand garden, little mossy rocks, because usually if you honestly have like an indoor fountain, there's gonna be a lot of moisture, a lot of mold and moss gathering up on things, but you know, it seems we don't have to be that deep. I don't like that the indoor onsen is so close, like a few feet away from the main entrance. I don't think that's what you would normally have, but I had like this build was very tight. I was struggling here and there with the space, but I think it doesn't matter in the end because in Sims 4 we don't have reception areas or receptionist, and to both sides of the indoor onsen we have the changing rooms and showers and toilets. Now I did make kind of like a women's and men's separately, but when I was playtesting them, both genders were using both of them, so it doesn't really matter. I thought that the little signs that came with Snowy Escape were autonomy signs, but I was wrong. So just never mind. I guess both genders can use both of them apart from the toilets. And then I'm also putting down a rack of towels because from what I read, they usually supply you with towels in onsen bathhouses, or you can rent them, or you can obviously bring your own, but I just figured it would be suiting to put some down. And I also put down a hamper, but I was worried that the Sims would be leaving around a bunch of dirty laundry piles until I realized that it was from the base game, so it's perfect. It looks like they have somewhere to put their dirty towels, but they don't have to leave dirty piles of laundry everywhere. And I did also use a tatami mat in the changing rooms, which I don't think would be typical because they would get wet and ruined, but I just wanted, like I said, to use as much from the Snowy Escape pack as possible, so I just used them anyway. And then I did the exact same thing on the men's side, so I didn't show that. But upstairs I'm building pretty much the same looking dressing room and showers. I just put the changing room side of the room on a platform to give it some different dimensions, and I actually had to replace the roofs because I was getting a roof lag, so instead of one piece I used 3 separate pieces. And then again I added some more roof details because yeah, they just didn't give us enough. And I tried to put the tea room on a platform, but then all the roofs came through and I can't, oh my god, the platforms are so buggy. I've tried building them with them so many times, and each time I just get more and more frustrated. I hate that they count as a separate room, like why can't we just have a platform? So I ended up just scrapping that whole idea, dividing it with half walls, back to the good old half walls. Oh, I didn't even mention, yeah, another part of this building that I really wanted was a tea room. So this is kind of like an onsen bathhouse, but also a tea house, which is why I named it Yama no Chaya. And something like that, actually, with that exact name exists in Japan. I was kind of trying to translate words in Japanese, and then I came across that, and I thought, wow, perfect, I'm just gonna steal it, okay, thank you. But yeah, it was just basically the idea was a tea house on a mountain, kind of like a mountain tea house, but also a bathhouse. And on the sides of the wall, I wanted it to completely cover with these shelves that they look like kind of stuffed full of tea. I also wanted to just have the whole floor with pillows, but we don't really have that in Sims, so I just put down the fluffiest cushiony couches and chairs that I could find, hoofs and a fluffy rug, and then also a little aquarium. And I wanted the green wood floor, but that was the closest one that I could find. Tea making machine and some more incense and just any kind of tea related decor. And I'm using these dividers from Vintage Glamour, but you can obviously use the one from City Living if you don't have Vintage Glamour, but the pack is honestly worth getting just for these dividers. Downsizing them almost to the smallest size to create these. I think it almost looks more Indian, I'm not sure. Kind of use them as decorative frames or doors for the tea shelves, and I thought that looked really cool and really suiting for this tea room. Now we're moving on to the last part of the building, and this is kind of more the chill dining area, and I built another bathroom. I didn't want the Sims to be leaving around a bunch of dirty plates, and I'm using an actual dining table as the coffee table because I wanted it to be round, and we don't really have any round coffee tables that are small. And of course the Zen garden and some more fluffy rugs, some more Asian decor, and I put down the wall fountain because, like I said, water is just seeping through this entire build. Ended up removing the drink tray because it just looked too cluttered. Like, downsized some of the items because it looked too much. I don't think it would be this cluttered. I really wanted to have a fireplace because it would be just really suiting for a snowy area and people coming here to chill after their snowy day out, but I just could not make it look good. So I got frustrated and I went back to the tea room, and I used 3 speakers throughout the build so you can put on Japanese or the spa day music, and it's just so relaxing to be here and listen to some Japanese music or just some meditation spa music. And I actually remembered to finally put down the hot pots so the Sims could actually eat there. And yeah, I just ended up deleting the fireplace and using another wall fountain, and it just looks so relaxing and so much better than the fireplace. And here I'm testing if she would freeze from meditating outside. She's wearing a very skimpy gym outfit and she was meditating for quite a while. She's got a happy mood with about a heated space, so that's perfect. So your Sims won't freeze no matter what they're wearing. And I had to replace some of the rocks. The snow was transferring from the outside in. If half of the rock was outside, the snow would still appear on the inside as well, so that was kind of lame. I messed with it for so long. We just don't have that many flat-sided rocks that I could use, so if a little bit of snow annoys you, then you can delete that rock. And in the end, I changed one of the dressing rooms into kind of leave your ski equipment here, chill room, and also added 2 vending machines in case you don't want to wait for the hot pots. Otherwise, it was kind of redundant to have 2 of the same rooms that both genders were using anyway. And that is the finished build. Now, before I go quickly, I failed majorly. Before building the lot, I didn't actually check which area of the lot the Sims port to. Your Sims will travel to the side of the building, but it only takes them 5 seconds to run to the front of the build. So if that annoys you, you obviously don't have to use my build. But I tried rebuilding the whole thing and building it horizontally, but it just did not look the same. It was no longer matching the vision that I had for it, so I just left it. I don't care, my Sims can run for 5 seconds, they will survive. And another thing is, if you do download this build, do not rotate it. I don't know why, but it messes up the terrain and there will be a big hole that you will not be able to fix right where the tree outside is, next to the meditation room, unless you put it down on a lot that is at least 30 by 40. In that case, you can rotate it however you want. So just leave it as it is and there will be no problems. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this build, and as always, if you want to download this, you can search Yama no Chaya Onsen on the gallery, or just go to Raniela818 or search hashtag simmerrei. And if you do download it, I hope you and your Sims will feel peaceful here and happy, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please subscribe and like the video. I would really appreciate it. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye!